So much bigotry and so little time. What's a trans girl to do? Hello, everybody. This is Lily, and I am the host of the FTN Podcast. That stands for Femme, Trans, and Noir. That means Black Trans Woman. So you know where you are. I know a few people are discovering the podcast, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm gonna maybe like reintroduce myself very quickly. So, like I said, I'm Lily. I am from the French Caribbean, and I was born over there. I grew up there, and a lot of my family is still over there. Not still. Why am I saying still? They're over there. That's just where they live. And actually, I'm recording this on my sister's birthday, my big sister, and I hope she's turning up right now or getting ready to turn up because it's a little earlier over there. But anyway, um, I'm from the French Caribbean. I'm a trans woman, and as you can imagine, that comes with some challenges. But that also comes with the beauty of being in the Caribbean. And when I say this, I'm not talking about, you know, what typically people think about when they're not from the Caribbean, which is the beach and um, I don't know, nice waters and all of that stuff, the sand and like it's not really. I mean, that's cute. Um, but I'm thinking about the the traditions, the resilience, the spiritual aspects also of growing up over there. Yeah, that is actually something beautiful, and I believe I'm lucky to have been born there. But yeah, there are also challenges, and these are things that we will definitely address, throughout this podcast and along the episodes. I don't have any, updates since the last episode, so I'm gonna keep this part pretty short. If you go to the website, ftnpod.com, you'll now be able to see, or actually listen to all the episodes. And I'm planning on adding the transcripts, but I'll do that, little by little because it does take time to transcribe everything and correct things and format them nicely. So I'll do that pretty soon, but at least you can have all the episodes. Here is something you may need to know. This podcast is sponsored, well, by me and my Patreon. So how does that work? Well, let's step back a little bit. So how can you show your support? Um, the first thing to do is the free thing. Just like the episode, share it with someone who you think may appreciate it, and leave a rating. Like I need 5-star reviews, right? I really need them. Just let the algorithm know that you're enjoying this or that you want more of this. And yeah, I would greatly appreciate it, but that would also greatly help the podcast. The next thing is, well, Patreon and all the paid options. Well, with Patreon, you can pay, as low as $2 a month. Just $2, baby. And I'm really not taking that for granted because that's a message. That's telling me, hey, this is important, or keep going. Yeah, and there are more tiers. There's a $5 tier where you get a little more, um, bonus episodes or bonus things about episodes, like a full-length episode or a video episode, things like that. And then you have a $10 tier, and you have, you can go crazy. I mean, there are no limits. The limits are the ones you set. But really, I'm really insisting on the free thing. And if you have extra coins, then I mean, absolutely, you can send them my way by going to Patreon. That's with a commitment, or you can go to the website. That's www.ftnpod.com, and you have a donate button at the top where you can basically donate any amount, and it's just once. So if you want to donate, like if you want a Cash App, $5, $500, like whatever, you can do that. All the information is over there. You can Cash App, you can PayPal. I mean, you can do all the things. But again, I'm insisting on the free stuff. So it really, if you don't have coins, to spare, because I understand, and it's just what it is. Well, you can still do the free thing. Thank you so much. Today's topic came from a discussion with my friend Manu, who is amazing. He is a great supporter of the show, in all the ways, and yeah, we were talking about those bills and um, bathroom bills, gender affirming care bills in the US, all the stuff that you know about. And I was telling him, I don't discuss these things typically. I don't want to debate about these things, and I don't even really like, I would not want to create a whole episode on this podcast about bathroom bills and why they're bad. That is nonsensical to me, and I'm gonna get into why in this episode. I'm gonna get into right-wing framing and why it's dangerous. So if there's something that right-wingers do very well, is they are masters at grabbing the message and forcing conversations around a framing that they created. So, first, to be clear, when I say right wingers, I'm talking about the right wing as political parties and people that craft political messages. That's who I'm referring to. I'm not necessarily talking about the base, although the base has its own issues, but we're not going to get into that today. So I'm talking about the people who are crafting the political messages. And what I mean when I say that they are framing the discussion, they are framing the conversations, is I think the best way to explain what I mean is to take an example. So they'll have a goal, a bigoted goal. They don't want trans people to exist, right? We know that. That guy Michael Knowles or something said the quiet part out loud. He talked about eradicating transgenderism. We know what that means. That's eradicating trans people, because transgenderism, as he put it, is not an ideology. It's trans people. But anyway, so they have this goal of eradicating trans people from the public sphere. So pretty much they don't want us to exist. Now, they can't just say that. Well, Michael Knowles did, but usually they don't just say that. what they do instead is they'll need to say something that sounds absolutely reasonable, something that if you position yourself against that something, you will be perceived as evil. You will be perceived as unreasonable. So instead of saying, we want to destroy and kill all trans people, they will say, we are concerned for the safety of our children, and we want to protect them from people who are known to be abusers. Of course, that last part is a lie, but it doesn't matter. It's the framing. The first part is we want to protect our children. We want to keep our children safe. Whatever comes after that no longer matters, right? Because the first part is reasonable. The first part no one can disagree with, right? So you can lie. It's okay. So just to clarify everything, you take a topic where there has never been an actual issue. Let's say like trans people existing. And because you don't like that trans people exist in peace, well, you're gonna create a problem. You're gonna make something up. For example, you're gonna pretend that there are issues with trans people in the bathroom. So you went from zero problem to now we have a problem, and you are going to take steps to eradicate that problem. And to do that, you will use a lie. You will use the children. You will use anything that makes you sound reasonable. You will take everything or anything that makes it appealing, not only to your base, but to anybody who is not really in tune with political discourse. What happens next is where it starts really. So I've worked with PR agencies on both ends, that is on the side that creates the messaging and communicates with the press, but also with the media on the receiving end of those messages. And what happens is people just send out a whole bunch of press releases, and now it becomes a public conversation. And that's because the press wants to juicy stuff. Let's just be honest. But once it's out there in the public and it is now a conversation, then we have those debates online. Then we have people arguing about those different, well, now topics. Everything I said before about how it works, the different steps to getting there and to spreading that disgusting message, I mean, it's horrible. But I almost want to say that it's fair game, right? It's part of the disgusting political landscape. To me, the real issue starts when people of good faith start debating other folks on these issues or start essentially giving oxygen to these topics. And what happens when we do that is that we breathe life into them. Every time we discuss one of these topics as a serious topic, we give it an air of legitimacy. And here's what I mean. Like when you hear about something or you hear some type of information and you go to some search engine and you type whatever you've heard And if you see no results, you'll be like, maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me move on. But if you see a whole bunch of results, you'll be like, okay, so this is serious then. Okay, let me look into that, right? Just the mere presence of articles, of opinion pieces, of content surrounding these issues is telling you, hey, there's something there, right? That's the first thing. Now, I think that also by repeating information, and it's not just me thinking that. I mean, it's something that we know about disinformation. Um, the more you hear it, the harder it is to get rid of, right? So you cannot talk about those topics without talking about the misinformation that that they are trying to spread. So you are helping the misinformation to spread. And I know that's really hard because you kind of have to report the news. Well, when I say you, well, the media has to report the news, and different media outlets have to report the news. But as other people, I don't think we should be even involuntarily giving legitimacy to these topics because debunkers. We also have to realize that people have been conditioned um, to think in a both sidesism type of way, right? If you listen to the news, you'll often hear, um, this person said X, that person said Y, and the reporter, instead of, telling you, so here is the truth, they will just leave it at that, as if being being objective, being neutral was the same as not doing one's job. And I'm being a little harsh here, but yeah, that's how I feel. So, you know, that's just it. But being neutral doesn't mean you do not tell the truth. What I am expecting of a reporter is for them to say, this person said X, that person said Y, and now here is the truth. That's my expectation. But when that doesn't happen, then people think, oh, so this person and that person have different opinions, and let's agree to disagree, or, whatever uninteresting type of retort or saying that makes it easier for people to let lies slip. So yeah, that's not good. That does not benefit the truth. That only benefits the lies because it puts it on the same level as the truth. We cannot accept that either. That's also a part of the right wing framing. They are counting on the fact that both sidism is a thing and that people want to curate their own realities. That is, I mean, I can't even believe that I'm talking about this, but that's what we have come to, unfortunately. So what I'm saying is that providing counter arguments is a way to strengthen the lies and the nonsensical bad faith arguments. So I don't debate anymore. I do have a Clubhouse account. Actually, it's my Clubhouse anniversary. Yay me. Um, 2 years ago when I got on Clubhouse, I used to go on stages and debate the transphobes. And then I realized that it doesn't matter. That after I gave them arguments, after I provided sources or proved to them that what they were saying made no sense or had no basis in reality, they would go on and just repeat the same thing over and over. And I realized that it's not about the truth. It's not about whether or not it there is an issue. The actual issue is transness for them. And for us, the actual issue is their transphobia, right? It's not deeper than that. There is no real concern. If we talk, like, if we're talking about trans people in sports, again, like, it's always this trans misogynistic type of framing where trans women are seen as aggressive, dangerous, burly men who are just looking to pounce on quote unquote real women. And they cannot be just like cis women. Trans women cannot be like it's not possible when we know that people are starting their transitions earlier than ever and actually not going through male puberty. But it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the same people do not care about women's sports. They don't. They don't. They're not trying to give budgets to women's teams. They're not trying to do any of that. It doesn't also matter that there are trans men. They are again erasing trans men because trans men are not trans men don't help them in their narrative. So right, so it's not about reality. Same thing about the bathroom bills. It's there have been zero issues with trans women because again, trans women, right? There have been no issues with trans women in bathrooms, but it doesn't matter. And actually, it's even worse now because in the places where they have successfully passed those quote unquote bathroom bills, well, now they'll have, trans men will be forced to go to women's bathrooms and actually make the women there uncomfortable. But also, anybody could pretend now to, be a trans man and get into women's spaces, right? So they have created what they said they were afraid of. And they don't care. They really don't care. I mean, the people who are framing these messages the way they do not care about that, right? Um so yeah, I mean, that's why it does not serve any purpose to debate these people. That's why it only helps them. It only gives oxygen to their messaging and it only gives wings and amplifies their messaging. And the worst part is about the kids, really, because there's always this faux concern for children when they actually are trying to harm trans children, right? We know that there are standards of care to address the needs of transgender children, and we know that none of those standards include mutilation, a rush to early surgery. And yeah, that's just not a thing. It's weird to have this obsession about kids, genitals. It's insane. So from now on, this is what I want from people who, you know, come up with these topics or ask these questions to me. I need them to actually show me proof that these are real concerns. So I need the sources that provide the stats about the mutilations, that give us the rates of at which trans people are smoking, um, cis people in sports. I need to know how, LGBT topics in schools and drag reading hour have shaped somehow the minds of babies to become perverted, or something. We need those proof, right? We need those elements before we can proceed with the conversation. Your idea, your yeah, but what about your religious arguments? Um, they're not even arguments actually. They usually appeal to some type of moral standard, which is very subjective, and that those people don't usually live up to anyway. But like all this other stuff, that's not actual data, that's not actual proof. I don't need that. I need the actual data to decide whether or not this is a topic worth the time. And usually it's not. It's not because the source is not the data, the source is not reality, the source is feelings, the source is bigotry, the source is I don't like this, I don't like you, I don't like who you are, therefore I believe you should not exist. And I'm going to legislate your way out of public space. That's just what it is. And new things will come up, right? New arguments, new a new framing of something new. And I would absolutely urge everyone everyone within the sound of my voice to question, not to go into argue mode, right? But to question the motives first, to demand that when these people ask you questions, when these people make an argument, demand that they tell you why this is a legitimate question. Demand that they tell you how this is affecting X, Y, or Z population. Demand proof. Demand for this to be balanced and fair, right? Don't just jump into arguing. Don't just jump into defending a position that you believe or that you know is fair, right? It does not help. Unfortunately, it does not help. It may perhaps convince one person who listens to you, maybe more, maybe more. But for countless others, what it does is it gives oxygen to the argument. It gives legitimacy. And for anyone who has been deeply affected by the both sides type of thinking, you have just made a very crappy, very dangerous argument, something that is equal to the truth. I know that's not the intent, but intent and impact are independent of each other. They can run opposite to each other, so that's just that. I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of depressing. Um, I don't like recording this, and I hope I'm being clear. I hope what I'm trying to say here is understandable and is legible. I'm sort of ad-libbing here, and it's just late at night, and I just had dinner, and this was on my mind, so I needed to record this. But yeah, I mean, we can definitely have that discussion again. We can go deeper into it. I can have a look at resources, and And we can dive deeper into that conversation because I really think that we need ways to be equipped against um, against that right wing framing thing that's just everywhere, because people end up arguing, from the right wing framework that is just destructive. It's just destructive. It's really, and I'll hear the people who say, yeah, but you have to, like, good ideas will always win against bad. No, that's not true. That's not true. A good idea within the framework, within a framework that is designed to keep reality suppressed, or to put reality on the same level as lies, that's not that's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, right? So I'm sure there's some resources out there, and I'll have a look at them. And maybe I should have done that before, but it was this is just like a real quick podcast with just putting my thoughts, like my raw thoughts, out there. And I would definitely like to know what you think. So definitely contact me. You know that now you can voice message me. So if you look in the show notes, you'll see a link to voice message me on Spotify. You can also You'll also find a link to email me on the website, and also you can find me on the socials. I'm mostly active on TikTok. I know it's not like I'm old, but hey, that's where um that's where I'm seeing the most interactions. So yeah, Instagram is trying to make me pay for, like, ciao. Anyway, so yeah, you know where to reach me. All the info is in the show notes. Don't forget to like, to comment, to definitely subscribe, and come back in 2 weeks to listen to the next episode. But before that, like, no, don't come back in 2 weeks. Come back today. Come back in an hour, and give me your thoughts. Just give me your thoughts and share this with a friend. All the good stuff. I'm gonna end here, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your thoughts. Thank you. All right, y'all. Bye bye.